this season is how well he's also gelled into a 3-3. But here we go. We're finally there. We're finally getting out the gates. And what do you know? Both teams into a 3-3. Nova MS flexing onto a Sombra.
There we go. So this is going to be Talon Esports seeing if they can get quite aggressive early, put one out of position, stop him from getting the pivotal hacks.
CQB very low. A lot of members low. In fact, nice hack onto CQB as those tanks are getting low. And where's the pressure going to become insurmountable? The answer is on Muse. That trade back on Bubukar is not the one you really want. Now with Gogora DMAX, thanks to a stun to get the last bit of damage in. Nova MS, they should just be able to force Talon off this point, maybe even get a few more kills to boot, and we'll be able to get that opening cap.
And look at this, just as the cap comes up, one nearly has EMP, he's going to get it this fight. His angle has been so good. He gets the best hack possible, or at least the second one, depending on who you ask, on the Lucio player of CQB. That jeopardizes Muse, puts him out of position as well, doesn't receive the extra healing, doesn't have the speed boost to get him out of there, and Talon Esports find themselves up against the wall super quick.
Speaking of incredible ultimate charge, look at this. Jervis nearly a sound barrier. Crazy S nearly has grab when Aputo isn't even halfway there.
That's
and
so
now
insane.
A huge EMP, absolutely demolishing Talon there. They're barely going to get any more ult charge on what was already a very low set of ultimate charges. Nova MS off to a crackerjack start.
And I tell you what, that was a 5-member coverage for the EMP. It was 5 because NN77 just disappeared. It would have been 6, but he was already gone. He's just melted at the sight of Crazy S now, who's still just lording that Graviton Surge above the hands of Talon Esports, who are waiting to receive this one, but do not have a support ultimate just yet.
No answers. The only thing they can maybe get is a counter shatter. That's such a hard one to really connect, so unreliable.
Nova MS just making a case for their strength right now. Graviton Surge.
There's that follow-up, though. Bashful does go down. There was that attempted counter shatter, didn't get the connection. Now, NN is already dead just before Transcendence came up. Muse goes down. It might have been just after, but at any rate, no opportunity to use it. Certainly would not be the time to use it anyway. And man, you would wish you had that when the grab came out.
And this is where the snowball starts to turn into an avalanche as well. Nova MS finally had to use most of their ultimates. Finally, one does not get another EMP in time. He is going to try and charge it up as much as he can, but Talon Esports coming up to their own Graviton Surge. Defensive ultimates available. A lot of eyes now on Jervis. He's got the one big tool to keep his team alive.
The thing is, a part of me feels that by the time Aputo's got that grab, one could just have an EMP anyway.
Oh dear.
Oh no! One charges up the rest of that EMP just about by killing Bashful. Could that have gone any better? Self-destruct in. Nice turn of the shield there from Nexus to make sure that doesn't catch anyone. Aputo's grab just not got a whole lot, not getting much done. Oyo does go down, but the EMP comes out. Gogora Court goes down. Aputo and Muse both hacked. They're not long for this world, and that is a shutout from Nova MS.
And a statement at that as well. They know how poorly they played last week, and they're saying that was a one-off. This time around, we're coming up against the #1 team based on standings, and we're going to show them. We're going to show them that we actually deserve that place instead. And Talon Esports got to get over these hurdles early. That was one that you can maybe afford to lose. The first hiccup of the entire series. One round on the pole, 2 chances now on this map to bring it back around.
It feels like Nova MS haven't just come here to make God bleed. They've come here to prove that he was never a god in the first place. They want to say, no, that 4-0's a fluke. That was strength of schedule. This is how a real team plays. This is who you've really got to beat if you want to be top dog.
We'll see right now if Talon wants to stick to something here. Gogora actually with the Symmetra, not what you usually see. Already rolling out. I think this might be potential cliffside strat. He's going to teleport everyone to the middle section.
This is very, very interesting. Let's see if that pays off.
Unspotted as well.
Yeah, there they go, coming in from the side. And Nova MS, like, how did you get there? Look at that. They're separated out. Crazy S gets to fly back to his team. Does get there. Nova MS, they don't lose anyone.
So the fear now becomes, what does the Symmetra bring for you in this actual brawl? So far, some low members on Nova MS.
And it's finally starting to mount through. Crazy S loses the mech. Bubukar got picked. Nexus looked like he might go down for a moment. One stunned. He does get out here. Jervis not so lucky. But that's Talon set up on the point. We'll be able to get the cap out. The question now is, how long does the Symmetra profit you for?
Well, that's the thing, because the turrets are going to be okay. Not a lot of damage. You can push past them fairly easily. It's the damage output. It's kind of like a secondary Zarya. If you consider that you have a Aputo, if he's on high charge, high damage output. If Gogora's on high charge and sticks to beam on a summon for a while, you have a secondary Zarya damage output. But beyond that, you don't have a really good ultimate. You don't have too much else.
Nova MS have nothing, though. That's the...
Well, that's worse.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the other side of that, and it's a little bit unfortunate. Bubukar goes down early as well. Shadow up from you is a little bit subpar, but they get the fight win anyway, so you'll more than gladly take it. It does allow you to finish charging up a couple of other ultimates. Nearly there on the grab, nearly there on the Transcendence.
Nearly lost that duel as well. That would have been really tough because you are in a spawn hold position. You don't want to have one member down. I do want to see how this big shield gets applied, this Symmetra ultimate being used by Gagora here, because you don't see it very often, so creativity is going to be the name of the game.
And also the question would be, how can Nova MS react to it? What's their game plan going to be? There it is, the Light Wall comes out, and yep, plus the grab. That's honestly 4 members that become very easy pickings. Might even be able to get Oyo on the retreat. Yep, there he goes.
Right, well, Nova MS didn't have any defensive ultimates. Oyo just gets it as he dies, so as soon as they see the grab come through, they see the wall come through as well, they're thinking, that's enough. We're just going to back out here, let them use a couple of ultimates. Nice cheeky positioning with the teleporter as well, and that's actually very different. Nova should probably look to just out-rotate.
Yeah, but, I mean, it still catches them, right? As Talon just drop onto them, absolutely destroying Nova, who had no choice but to keep running for the point, end up in a car wash, and I mean, this is working wonders for Talon.
It's a little strange. If you're Nova MS there, you probably put a lot of damage on the actual teleporter, which was on the ground unguarded, and then while the rest of Talon Esports kind of stuck on high ground, Nova just walked to the point, but right now, point is ticking up, nearly 100.
Speaking of walk to the point, he does at least force an overtime, and now the rest of the team comes in 99-0, looking like it might be a shutout in the way of Talon. Oh, just barely touching that point is Nexus. Can they get a fight win? They got the grab out, but there's another Light Wall. Oh man, Self-Destruct is going to have a hard time connecting, and Talon getting a few kills in Bashful, the only casualty on the side of Talon. I mean, this has been pretty one-sided. You thought the first one was a 100-0 shutout. Well, Talon more than happy to answer that one back with one of their own. Heaven knows how Village is going to go.
And Nova MS just seemed a little bit too confused there. Weren't quite sure how to deal with the Symmetra. And I don't know, part of you kind of thinks if you just kind of rush in there, start the brawl early, you know the Diva doesn't exist. Part of you thinks maybe an Ana would be an appropriate play there as well. You know that there's not going to, because there's no Sombra either, so you're not afraid of not having the Transcendence for that. The wall wasn't really super impactful. Yeah, it existed, but you never really felt like it changed the game. Not like what a grab would do and Earthshatter would do. So really it's just a damage output, some cute teleportation plays, and otherwise just a big spanner in the works that Nova MS could never really figure out.
Well, tied up as we are, high up in the Himalayas. Gavin, I got a question for you. What's the tallest mountain in the world?
Mount Everest.
It's actually Mauna Kea.
Okay.
But
actually
anyway,
Mount Olympus on Mars, screw you.
That's Olympus Mons. Mount Olympus is in Greece.
All right, whatever.
Anyway, on to the point they come. And this is a little bit more stock standard. This is what worked for Nova MS on Shrine, where they got their shutout. Stun on 1 to slow them down, though, for this opening skirmish.
That's really significant, because if you remember how Shrine went, 1 really set the stage. Points about to unlock. We'll see who gets there first. It's Nova, or rather Talon.
And 1 isn't really in position to get an opening hack. Nexus takes big damage. They need to be careful not to lose him. Talon smart to not overchase and overextend, but they do get the point.
That's just where you look at the damage output as well. Muse is so far leading the charge. 1 still looking for something. Not really on an angle, though. First blood going on Bubakar.
Yeah, and the hack on Bashful was not the ideal target here. They nearly get a Pudo and Bashful down, but not quite, and that means Talon, they're going to secure those kills. They've already got the point in their favor as well, so really this is just extending a lead.
And I think Talon Esports definitely out-rotated in over MS here, because you do still just look back on Shrine. Where did 1 play? How did he position himself? He had an angle. This summer he came in the front to back for Sombra. Not ideal. Not going to get a hack target. You are going to get shot down. So what you want to see is 1 on the back line instead, finding a hack target that allows Nova MS to actually push into Talon.
It's like everything I said about Shrine, where, you know, Nova MS said, no, this is the real standard. This is the sort of team you got to play against. Talon went, okay then, we can match that. And suddenly here we are, where they're outdoing what beat them on Shrine.
So it's EMP coming up at 50% as well for Talon Esports, and does also have himself a Transcendence, so should be in position to do something about it. 1 now going back behind the team.
There it is, but it does not catch in, and he knew it was coming. Transcendence comes in, not enough to save Muse though. Nice connection on that. Sound barrier still available, but grab to come out. It's going to have to be a sound barrier to answer. CQB goes down. They choose to not commit that 1. I think they've just decided, no, we're going to let this fight go over. Let's not blow any more ultimates. Let's let Nova MS drain themselves dry. Come back in for the next go around, because Talon are at nearly 80%.
I also think that might have been a mistake. It could have been either, but to be fair, if you did use the sound barrier, look at what other ultimates were coming online. Graviton Surge, and Self-Destruct combo, Earthshatter. They probably could have turned that 1 around. This could have been another 100-0. Nova MS were kind of struggling there until Talon Esports said, okay, we're going to let you have it.
Here's the thing, though. They've still got that grab self-destruct combo. They've still got all of those tools. And Oyo committed a Transcendence late in that last fight. He's a long, long way from his next one. One does not have an EMP.
Nexus nearly on the Earth Shadows also. They're looking to try and just match the ultimates on the other side.
There's that grab. Oh, Crazy S completely isolated with the angle on that one. And self-destruct connects on Jervis. It all falls to pieces for Nova MS. Talon, they had so much to work within that fight. Not at all surprising, but still about as bad as it could go for Nova MS.
And this is why I think it must have been a mistake for Talon to not have committed that sound barrier earlier, because momentum shift is a real big deal here. They've just completely lost where they were positionally on the map. They have to push into Nova, who can initiate first, who now have built up an EMP, who now themselves actually, well, hang on a second. Talon Esports have actually, never mind.
Yeah, but there's just enough time for Nova MS though, and that EMP is a decent one. In, not quite caught in it, but Muse, again, going down thanks to a charge from Nexus. This is how that last fight went. Nexus though gets answered for. CQP in the counter trade. Bashful goes down. Oh man, it is even Stevens with the members that are alive here. Can one Crazy S and Oyo do it? They've got ultimates to back it up, but they need to actually connect them. There's the grab. Crazy S goes down. Where's your Transcendence, Oyo? And now it's far too late to commit it. Who is he keeping alive? It's just one who gets stunned up, gets killed out. You needed to save the Zarya there. They got a cap in the middle of that fight, but it goes right back the way of Talon.
And as the overtime does come through, you have a couple members available. The grab's keeping them out.
Off the side as well, and the charge down on Nexus means he does not touch the point, and Oyo's got to be kicking himself. Talon take the win.
Oh, they had the members as well. The Graviton Surge from Tutor just coming up in time. These are the kind of mistakes that are going to end up costing you, unfortunately. It was very back and forth, though we did kind of expect both teams to really slug it out there. Both teams have the caliber to do so. You look at the first 2 rounds of this, 100-0, another 100-0, going into Village. A lot of swap specs back and forth, and now you're starting to think, to be fair, Talon did win this one, but both teams had equal claims.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Let's posit a hypothetical. Oyo commits Transcendence, they win that fight, maybe they hold on to something for the next fight, they get a snowball going. They could have just as easily, potentially, taken that. But what matters is what did happen, and Talon are off to an early lead.
And it doesn't really, so far, say if one team is significantly outplaying the other one just yet. Again, you have to look at how that series as a whole went across all 3 rounds. Every team, both teams rather, had a really strong stake for claiming that they were going to be the better team. Going into Blizzard World next, I think it's going to be equally bloodthirsty from both sides. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, and it's going to be a hard one to call.
Yeah, that's the reality, right? I mean, Control is only one part of the bigger picture. So coming on to Blizzard World, again, this is where I wouldn't be surprised to see teams dip into some flexibility. We didn't see too much, though, on Nepal. I think it could just be a lot of 3-3 out of Talon and then 3-3 with a Sombra out of Nova MS. Well, that was something, but it's a pocket strat that was obviously prepared for Sanctum. I mean, you're not going to run that on Blizzard World.
Yeah, you're not seeing any triple or quad DPS just yet. I think both teams have strong
quad tank, I don't know.
Basic...
If you're
cyclone coupling isn't playing. Both teams have strong core 3-3 sort of understanding here, so they're both more comfortable doing that. It's about what extra do you want to put on top of that? What is, what's the extra kind of stylistic difference? And so far, what you're identifying is for Nova MS, it's been the Sombra. That's interesting because at the start of the tournament, that was also kind of telling you saw a lot of Sombra from Pudo. Now you're kind of not seeing that right now.
They're obviously valuing Pudo Zarya play, and I've got to say, I would feel rightfully so. Like he's kind of an understated Zarya play in here because he just kind of hits the beats. Like you don't see this guy muck up a whole lot when they're in the lead, when they're playing well. Everything just seems to be going relatively right.
I think they also just kind of favor the regular 3-3, just playing it safe and just doing what they know works, and every now and then possibly pulling out a pocket strat. And I do have to now wonder, are there other pocket strats here? Because they know they're going up against good teams, and they know so far at least one of those strats has worked. I mean, do they have more up their pockets to really pull out? Or, is it going to be Nova MS kind of thinking, well, if things go standard here and we can expect them, it'll go better for us?
That's the thing, because that strength of schedule, bit of opportunity to hide some picks, but maybe they haven't. Maybe that's the only one they had. Who's to say?
The person that has the say right now, Pudo, has been listening and he says, actually, I remember that Sombra, and I remember it fondly, and then he wants to give it another. Could still be a scouting one, so reserve judgment at least for the time being. Nova, though, they're not going to be scouting with theirs. It's going to be real.
That's right. I used to play this. If it's scouting, then they've held on to it for a long, long while.
Oh, no. Gagora's on the Zarya, so I do believe this is real. Now, the Talon definitely committing to this one because usually Gagora would be on the Diva. So that means if Pudo wants to change, he has to go back on the Diva. All they have to do is double swap. They are very committed.
There's the pressure in, so we're going to get a Sombra v Sombra duel on the point. That's how they're going to force a Pudo off, and One's having a pretty easy-peasy time charging up this EMP. And
I guess the equal thing is true. One and Crazy, yes. You know, one doesn't usually play the Diva, but right now both Sombras looking for targets, and one is so far ahead. Look at that.
Oh, Bashful going down. Excellent pick out there, and Apudo just not getting the same kind of mileage here. Hack onto Gagora now. One finds another mark. They're just going to put the pressure on, trying to muscle out the tanks. Mew's going to go down again.
Goodness.
One getting the kill credit. That's going to have that EMP nice and ready to go. And Apudo only just at 60%.
85% for Bubukar. That's the next best one.
Yikes.
And he does go down, but so does Apudo. It's kind of even. You do believe that with at least Sombra, you translocate forward, and the invisibility gives you extra speed. You do get back on point in time, but one's ability to get this much value in the neutrals is absolutely insane.
That's the thing. That being said, Talon, Gagora in. They've got some ultimates. Crazy S and Oyo not quite there. Oyo nearly there. Need to be careful. Crazy S stunned out. He's going to get finished off as that EMP comes in, but it didn't get in. They managed to get the connection.
Shatter.
Earth Shatter's okay, but can they actually get any kills off it? Because Gagora's low, but doesn't get finished off. Oyo trying to rescue this fight, but Nova MS, they're all out of ultimates.
Oh,
the Samaritans out, cancelled by the EMP as well. And Talon with far, far deeper pockets. It's not about how fast you charge them up. It's about how many you got.
And now you actually see how big of a kill it was on one. And yeah, he is a Sombra that can get back quickly, but unfortunately, not quick enough to actually give Nova MS the initiative, because they need to be in a position where if you are a Sombra already behind the enemy team, already setting up, already finding ideal targets, Talon was already on the point and forcing the cap by the time Nova were ready to move, and that's too late.
All right, Nova. What else you got? They're coming up on a grab soon, and it's going to have to do a lot for them. Use for the Shadow.
Now, Gagora doesn't have one, so it'll make a difference.
One is closer to an EMP. Oh, stun on Bubukar. He's in trouble. He's going to go down. Uh-oh. Nexus low as well. Maybe they don't want to commit that grab. They definitely don't want to commit it now. They tried really hard, and they get Muse, but one translocates forward, ends up vulnerable going down here. Nova MS just kind of threw themselves at that one without really committing anything.
I think he wanted to go on the high ground, but still got caught out regardless, and now Nova MS finding themselves in a slightly more difficult scenario, because even as the EMP comes online, and then has a transcendence. This is kind of how Talon Esports weather the storm of the last EMP anyway, is and has the transcendence at the correct times to then counter that EMP, and also the kill into Bubukar was a big deal.
Oh, man.
I think that
it did still go up, but it's a whiff. That's the real heartbreaker. That's what matters more than anything else. This is going terribly for Nova MS, to speak bluntly. There's going to be an EMP, though, and again, it doesn't catch in. So he comes in, one goes down. There's still at a numbers advantage right now, and Nova MS do not have other ultimates to work with just yet. They're nearly there, but nearly is not enough to save Bubukar's life. Jervis and Nexus not quite getting those in time. Now they're going to go down. Pay for that one with their lives, and Talon, they have yet to be stopped.
And the problem is you never are going to get in because he's always going to be hiding around a corner. So Nova, they just have to settle with 5. The problem is they can't do enough damage afterwards. You also have a case where Apudo's hack timing against Crazy S was just immaculate. I mean, it wasn't really even on purpose. Oh. Just going for the hack, and then suddenly he throws out the grab, and suddenly, well, he can't because he's actually hacked out.
Man, this is disastrous for Nova MS. They'd fully respawned, and then those 2 members die. They look lost.
Now in this last part of the map, they start finding themselves just a little bit here. Not a lot of ultimates to work with. Everything they have, Talon have as well. And then some more 3 EMP targets.
Yeah, that's pretty decent, especially when you kill Oyo as well. Not that he had a transcendence anyway, but hey. And there's Jervis as well going down. I mean, Nova MS, they're not even getting counter trades here. Talon are just getting freebie after freebie with these fights, and then they come into another one with ultimates. That ends up being a freebie too. It just keeps happening.
It just seemed a little bit too easy. You think if maybe Jervis was unhacked there, he can use the sound barrier, but Nova MS is kind of caught. Nexus just has to dive in. Maybe if he can get a charge kill, he slows something down. He's probably going to go down anyway. We're already at the end. Here's the Graviton.
Yeah, and already Oyo is down in it, and he was so close to a Transcendence, but again, not close enough equals not enough. Earth Shatter either side. Muse gets the slightly better one, but no one dies thanks to that. There's going to be a grab from Crazy S, but it's still a 4 versus 6. They've still got nothing here. And Enin does have a Transcendence in time. Take notes, Oyo, speaking of which, back up with that Transcendence, but everyone's dead. It's just him. It's
just going to be a big stall out here. Nova MS just have to pray they can get enough members out. Not going to be the case. Saputo's just going to throw out the EMP in celebration.
Yeah, Nexus, I mean, he gets CQB in the charge in, but he dies instantaneously afterwards. So, after what was a reasonable opening on the defense on point A, Nova MS beyond that point looks absolutely and utterly lost. What am I saying? Talon, on the other hand, they just looked unstoppable. It felt like I said, they were getting a lot of freebies. They were just kind of moving forward, getting a kill, and then Nova MS were crumbling after that.
And one, it kind of started with there because that one pick that he sort of went down on, because before that it was so perfect, and because he had to respawn, yeah, he goes down at the same time as Saputo, and you kind of think, again, it kind of feels like it might be okay, but then you see Talon rolling up so quickly, and that's where Nova MS just were not in position. And it felt like one big snowball from there where Talon Esports continue pushing through, never really stopped. Get to see, you expect Nova MS to maybe slow down the game here, maybe start to turn some fights around. Never really happened for them. They never found a fight. They never got anything done. They never initiated anything. And Talon Esports had a field. They had their way with Nova Esports and cruised back to the... Cruisingly cruised to the end of the map.
I mean, I feel like the real tell in the middle of that there, you sort of touched on, Nova MS never really able to actually commit ultimates, never really able to make a fight happen on their terms. It felt like every time they're like, all right, guys, let's go in for a fight, and Talon were already starting a fight. They'd already got a pick, and then Nova were like, oh, no, wait, that's not what we wanted. And then just nothing happened. Let's see if they can change that tune on the offense, though. This is what could really be the difference maker here.
Yeah, a lot needs to change here, so Nova MS and Talon, they look like they're both going to run the same thing, potentially. Crazy is, I'm not expecting him to stay on the Tracer too long. Even in Widow, potentially, just seeing if maybe there's something interesting on that defense. But no, it's going to be a total mirror. Both teams exactly the same.
Yep. Let's see if Nova MS, like we said, let's see if they can kick it back into gear here.
And on that defense, or even rather, when you just look at the two Sombras, one did so much better in this neutral than Apudo. If he can do that again, Nova will be off to a really good start.
That's the thing. This time it is Nova MS with the closer respawns. If they get that same Sombra for Sombra trade, this time the shoe's on the other foot.
Early damage is good for Nova so far, but one taking a lot.
Is still leading in the ult charge though, so it pays off. The Crazy S gets picked off, and it means that Talon are actually getting the kills, they're getting the fights. Again, the ult charge is only one half of the equation. It doesn't matter if you're 76% to an EMP if you're the only one alive at the end of the day.
So here's what's important. Muse has just respawned. In has not respawned yet. Muse can probably get back to the point in time. In cannot. He has to get taxed in by CQB, and I don't know if they have time to do that because Nova MS should see this and get to that point and take a fight as soon as possible. EMP nearly online.
But they're dawdling. They're not on the point, and now Muse is back. So suddenly Nova MS, what was the shoe on the other foot, unfortunately they wore the soul thin, and
let's see if they can stop down with the EMP though.
They're not actually ahead, but like you said, the EMP is something. It's enough. Theoretically.
And there's no defensive ultimate, so it's perfect.
Oh, and it is too. 5 out of 6. Apudo's going to go ahead and counter EMP, but 2 members already dead. They do actually even up the score here. 1 goes down as well. Ooh, still even. Closer respawns here for Nova. But Oyo, again, it's not quite enough to save Crazy S. And Talon still have ultimates. They've still got to grab, but they don't even need to use it because this is actually just the 2 supports in full retreat, not even going to make it back to spawn.
And this is where, despite the fact that the initial EMP was very good because Apudo wasn't hacked out, and this isn't the member you expect that with an EMP turns things around because Talon already started losing so many members, but the next EMP coming through catches Jervis and Oyo, and there is no defensive ultimate response, and Nova MS, unfortunately, eating the later EMP, lose that fight.
Talon now just coming in with a big advantage in this fight. They've got those defensive ultimates as well. That's the real difference maker here. Grab to come in first of all. Oyo does not have a response for it. Shatter is one thing, plus the sound barrier from Jervis, but counter Shatter coming in from Muse. Yeah, that means Nexus is forfeit Bubuka as well. Nova MS. I mean, they threw in everything they had. They should have just known Talon would use what they had, and in preserved that one massive ultimate advantage they had as well.
And I think this is already maybe looking too far gone because Talon Esports are still in position to defend. One has given up on the Sombra now. He's playing Diva, not his usual position. Crazy S and One should usually be in a swap position here, but that's how it is. And Nova MS have just barely got time, 1 minute remaining, and they still got to go up against a Pudo.
I mean, never say never, right? But they've got nothing really here. They've nearly got a Transcendence, but how many times have I said nearly is not enough? And it's an EMP already without the Transcendence ready to get. And that is far too many dead. Now there's that Transcendence, but just a fraction of a hair too late. Time and time again, that is the position OYO has found himself in.
Stagger onto one as well, just to slow things down even further. I think even if Nova MS actually cap here, they would be unlikely to finish the map, at least not in a comparable time. They have to snowball through B and C, and it just doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do that. Less than 30 seconds, 20 seconds now, just the Transcendence and a hope.
I mean, they didn't really stop up the cart on the defense. They haven't got underway on the offense. This is not looking like a Nova MS that can snowball. Talon, so many ultimates here. Nova MS, almost nothing to go on. Earthshatter's in.
Good.
Transcendence out of OYO is kind of forced there. Nova MS don't have anything else left to go on as the grab comes out, and they're not on the point because of the grab. Brilliant play by Talon. Absolute dominance there on the defense. Look, Nepal was close. That was back and forth. I feel like it could have gone either way. That was all Talon all the time.
Yeah, it was on the offense. It was on the defense. Look, we'll reserve all the time because of only the very start of that defense for Nova on A was very, very good. So one-sided. A 100% EMP charge in no time. First person to get an ultimate, bar none. After that, it was all downhill. It was off a cliff downhill.
Yeah.
And Nova Esports is, you know, the rest of that game was unfortunately so disappointing from them. Now that you're looking at 2-0, like you said, Nepal felt like it could have been anyone's. Blizzard World did not feel that way.
Well, it's going to be a tough second half for Nova MS. I mean, we expected this to be a very close one. It is suddenly not looking very close at all. Nova MS, they've got to take a big step up. What felt like just a little bit of a tweak to maybe take Blizzard World after losing Nepal suddenly feels like a mountain to climb.
Yeah, you got the person right now at the back room with the trophy, starting his way engraving that number 5 at the moment because it just starts to feel like that 5-0 is creeping up right now. Nova opportunity is it's getting slim. I mean,
so that's where the number 5 is. I was like, there is no 5 in the word Talon. I'm very confused.
Oh, wait, there is. Oh my
so that's usually how trophies work. Is you do the name.
I know, but the point was 5-0's coming up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it is.
Stands.
It does. And I think Nova right now, I mean, a lot needs to change going to future maps because this is a very quick 2-0.
The second half, though, is where we often see things change. I know we say this a lot, but it is honestly very true. Nova MS are also the only team so far to actually complete a reverse sweep in a bit of a different circumstance. I believe it was against Global Esports, actually. So against a pretty tough team, all things considered. Look, you've got to say, capacity is there, the potential is there, and they did show up decently on Nepal. There was a lot of strength there. This isn't the Nova MS we saw last week, at least on Nepal it wasn't. Blizzard World,
it just starts to think, you know, I do want to believe Nova MS do level up towards the later half of the series. Typically what happens is, well, you see what kind of maps they drop. Usually they're in the first half. Usually they look weak in the first half. Then they come alive a little bit more towards the end. The problem is if this keeps on happening and it comes up too late, you're going to be at 3-0 by the time you come alive. And cool, you get the escort, but you've really lost the entire series. So you can't afford to be in that position if you're Nova. So they certainly have to turn things around very quickly. I'm only super concerned because this map, Blizzard World, should have been more competitive, and it just wasn't.
Yeah, like you'd like to think it should have been more competitive at least. Like, should have been at least as competitive as Nepal, I think would even be a fair say, where Nova MS had a 100-0 shutout, and a very impressive one at that as well. The one that they got shut out on, there was a pocket strat, you know, you can make all these arguments, but at the end of the day, Talon did still close it out and then absolutely dominated on Blizzard World. What do Nova MS have to show for all this? And
Talon is showing so much right now. They're showing why they deserve to be in the #1 position. They're showing why they deserve to be undefeated. And I think Nova MS, unless things go well in the next map, they won't be taking that victory. But we'll have to see how that goes. We are going to take a bit of a break here as we've reached the halfway point of this matchup. So don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this match. It all continues right after this break.